to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about Tennessee Williams' A Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. This will be a film review, well, book review slash film review. For those of you who have not seen the play or have read it or seen the movie, please keep in mind that this video is full of spoilers. So if you don't really want to be spoiled, probably read it first before you watch this video. And if you really don't care, then keep watching. So without further ado, let's get started. So before I tell you guys what I thought about the play, I'm going to tell you guys what it's about, for those of you who don't know. So this play takes place in a summer home, I believe in Louisiana or some of those southern states, or North Carolina, somewhere around there. And basically it's a man who, you know, this is his family's home. He comes from a very wealthy and respected family, and wow, it's so funny, my cat's here and we're talking about in the title. But anyway, so and he lives, and he's staying here to visit his father because it's his birthday, and he's here with his estranged wife. He broke his leg because he's an ex-football player, and his leg is broken. He depends on his wife, who he detests so much, and we can tell that from the beginning of the play, since the first act is actually, the entire first act takes place in the bedroom that they are staying in. And we learn through this first act that his wife is trying to seduce him to sleep with her so that she can get pregnant, so that they can inherit his father's money. Because we figured out also that his father is dying from cancer, and that the family is trying to keep it from him until after his birthday, the news that he is terminal. Also, there's a interesting family dynamic because the brother is a lawyer. He's very opportunistic, and he's after his father's money too, to the point where it's almost kind of like, you know, questionable whether he even really cares about his father. We have his father is very verbally abusive to his mother, and it shows how I think it really replicates his relationship. His father's relationship with his mother really replicates how he feels so indifferent to his wife. Because in the way that he treats her, in the way that he kind of just throws her on the side. But I think what's the most interesting dynamic is that one of the elements that, you know, his wife keeps bringing up throughout the play is his best friend. I believe his best friend's name is Steve, but I'm not sure. And we learn through the play that, and it's not necessarily straight out and explicit, because remember, this play was written in the 50s, but it was suggested that he was in love with his best friend, and because his wife had an affair with his best friend, you know, because his best friend wanted to prove that he was not gay, they both questioned it, and of course grew, you know, because they could not be together, his best friend, I think his best friend commits suicide. I'm not 100% sure on that, because his death is ambiguous and it's never come out how his friend died. But we know that the main character, he is a drunkard because since his best friend's death, and this is something that's really hurting him, and he can't even he can't stand his wife. So there's a lot of elements to this. There's elements to this play that makes it such an amazing play and such a celebrated play, because it talks about things. It's ambiguous, but at the same time it's right in your face, because you talk about sexuality, you talk about different family dynamics, you talk about masculinity versus femininity, you talk about inner identity, and there's so many elements that has with it. And I think one of the greatest things about Tennessee Williams is that he has this sensibility that is uncanny. Like, you don't really necessarily see it. I have not seen it in any of the plays. In terms of a male playwright, I have not seen that sort of sensibility the way that he has toward the vulnerability versus the grittiness to the male psyche. So it's something really amazing, and I love this play. I gave it a 5 stars out of 5 on Goodreads. It's something I really would tell you guys, I would recommend you guys very strongly to read it. It is definitely meant to be, it's a masterpiece. That's all I can tell you. There's a reason why Tennessee Williams is the father of American drama. And yeah, so if you haven't read it, please read it. I know I spoiled it for you guys, but you have to read it to understand where I'm coming from. But when I watched the movie, which stars Paul Newman as the main guy and Elizabeth Taylor as his wife, Maggie, you know, called Maggie the cat because she's so manipulative, I loved the movie, even though, because remember, the movie is set in, I believe it's in 1956 during the Hague Codes, where a lot of those things were prohibited in films, like things like vulgarity, anything sexuality or homosexuality, anything with suggestive of drugs and excessive drugs or anything like that. All those taboo things were not allowed to be in film, and if they were not allowed in general theaters, and they did not reach general audience. So because of that, a lot of the film production companies had to abide by these laws. The cat on a Hot Tin Roof, Tennessee Williams actually, believe it or not, did not like the movie. Apparently he walked out 20 minutes in and was like, this is trash, this is nothing like the play I've written. But believe it or not, it is a great film. Even though it does not mention homosexuality at all. They turn it around saying that, you know, his wife didn't cheat on him, so there was no adultery. You know, he was not in love with his best friend. His best friend just committed suicide because he needed someone. You know, it's like they changed different elements that would be kind of, you would say, adult material, and made it a little bit more accessible to, I guess, a more, you know, so that they can fit the Hays Codes. And of course the ending was changed, because the ending of the play is that she finally manipulates him into sleeping with her in a very conniving way, but he never actually changes. He's still very stoic the way that he is at the beginning of the play, and he just stays like that throughout the entire play. We just see one jolt of emotion with him when he screams at his father saying, "What are you trying to say?" Because everyone in his family kind of has an idea that maybe he is a homosexual, but except him, and he just bursts out at his father. But that kind of, in the play, in the movie, he does have that outburst with his father, but he brings in his wife and says like, "Oh yeah, she cheated on me," and they made it more into a a marriage issue rather than a homosexuality issue. Even though with all that being said, with all those changes being done, I think it served its purpose, especially when you take into account the law and the time. But personally, I think Tennessee Williams was born in the wrong time. I think if he was born now, I think his work would be, he would be able to see his work on screen and in theater the way he'd wanted it to be. But at that time, that was not really something that drama and theater and films were ready for. So, but all in all, I enjoyed the film. Great acting. Paul Newman was beautiful in the film, and he's a great actor. Elizabeth Taylor, so sexy and incredibly gifted in the way that she portrayed Maggie. I fell in love with them. I thought that they were great. I thought that the cast was great. Even the father, the way that the father was played. I enjoyed the film. I would give the film 5 stars. It is a great film. Even if it does not reflect the original work, it is a great film. I'm not gonna lie about that. So if you have not seen the film, I would highly suggest you watch it. If you don't know who Paul Newman or Elizabeth Taylor are, then you definitely need to go on Google and look them up and watch their other movies, their other films. So yeah, that's my review, my book review / film review on Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys next time. Bye.